ENS191 Engineering Economy, Module 4 Compound Interests and Interest Rates. So for this fourth lesson, we will be discussing what is compound interest and its applications. So by the end of this module, you should be able to understand interest rates and compound interest, solve problems involving compound interest and interest rates. In calculations of compound interest, the interest for an interest period is calculated on the principal plus the total amount of interest accumulated in previous periods. Thus, compound interest means interest on top of interest. So meaning, say meron kang amount, principal amount for the first year, and at the end of the year, naging P plus I na siya. So, that amount, yung principal amount na may interest na for the first year, yun din yung gagamitin yung principal amount for the second year, meaning kasama na yung interest. So, that is why it is called interest on top of interest. So, looking at the table, so for year 1, you have principal amount of P. Then, interest earned during the period is PI. So that is the principal times the interest rate. So at the end of the period, P plus I or P times 1 plus NI. So that is for the first year. So for the second year, your principal will be the amount at the end of the first year. So yun naman i-multiply mo again ng isa pang ng another interest rate for that year. So, magiging P times 1 plus I to the power of 2 or squared. So, susunod-sunod na yan. At year 3, yung principal amount is the amount earned at the second period. Then, multiply by I, the interest rate. Magiging P times 1 plus I to the power of 3. So, judging from the trend of the equation, so at end period, meron kang principal na P times 1 plus I to the N minus 1, earning interest multiplied by I, so magiging P times 1 plus I to the power of N. So ito yung magiging formula ng equation natin involving compound interest. So future worth is equals to the present worth or the principal amount time multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of N, that is the number of periods, kung ilang year yung interest or yung loan or yung involved na money. So present worth naman is i-transpose mo lang yung equation na ito dun sa kabila. So present worth is equal to the future worth multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of negative N. So that is itong dalawang formula yung gagamitin natin. Okay? So rate of interest. So, a nominal rate of interest specifies the rate of interest on a number of interest periods in 1 year. So meaning I is equals to R over M. So rate of interest per interest period, R is the nominal interest rate and M is the number of compounding periods per year. So if the nominal rate of 10% of interest is 10% compounded quarterly, then I is equals to 10% divided by 4, that is 2.5%. So the rate of interest per interest period. So compounding periods in a year, pwedeng annual, pwedeng biannual, pwedeng quarterly or monthly. So yun yung magiging M natin. So this is in the case if it is compounded not annually, kasi kung annually yung I is equal to R din siya. So this is usually used pag compounded siya quarterly or semi-annually. So ganun. Second is effective rate of interest. So it is the actual or exact rate of interest on the principal during 1 year. So if a 1 peso is invested at a nominal rate of 15% compounded quarterly, after 1 year, this will become So, P, this is your P, times 1 plus I. So, that is compounded quarterly. So, i-divide mo yung I ng 4 multiplied by 4. Kasi, in 1 year, your money is compounded makaapat quarterly. So, that is magiging 4. So, it's like 1 times 4. Ganon. So, yung 1 peso after 1 year is magiging 1.1586. So, the actual interest earned is 0.1586. So, yan yung na-earn nung 1 peso. The rate of interest after 1 year is 15.86%. So, yan yung rate of interest na tinubo nung 1 peso. So, the effective rate of interest will be F1 minus 1. So, or 1 plus 1 to the m minus 1. So, given na yung principal nung una is 1 peso. So, F1 is the amount 1 peso will be after a year. So, yan yung effective rate of interest. Okay, so let's solve some problems about compound curve and interest rates. So problem number 1, find the nominal rate which if converted quarterly could be used instead of 12% compounded monthly. So what is the corresponding effective rate? So yung 12% compounded monthly daw is i-convert natin into quarterly. So we let R is equals to the unknown nominal rate. So to find the R, i-equate natin yung effective rate nung monthly and yung effective rate ng quarterly. So from the previous slides, effective rate is simply the F1 minus 1, where F1 is the amount na magiging amount nung principal na amount. So that is 1 plus I to the m minus 1. So starting with the given yung compounded na 12% monthly. So 1 plus, meron tayong 12% monthly. There are 12 months in 1 year times 12 minus 1. So equate natin dun sa unknown plus R over quarterly. Merong 4 quarters sa isang taon. 4 minus 1. So simplifying the equation, we will find that R is equal to 0.1212 or 12.12% compounded quarterly. So yan yung answer. So if compounded quarterly siya, magiging 12.12%. So nag-increase yung nominal rate niya. Okay, so for the second problem, find the amount at the end of 2 years and 7 months if 1,000 is invested at 8% compounded quarterly using simple interest for any time less than a year interest period. So for 7 months interest, yung 7 months, gagamitan natin ng simple interest. So first is, guguhit tayo ng cash flow diagram. So say meron tayong, this is for the 0 year, 1 year, 2 year, and 47 months. So merong 0. So this is an investment. So meaning, with respect sa, if I am an investor, this is a cash out. So dun sa convention natin, pag cash out, pataas yung arrow. And then, so sa 2 years, gagamitan natin ng compound interest. So separate sila. So merong F1 dito. And dito naman is merong F2. So for the first 2 years, compound interest yung gagamitin natin. So So compound this compound. Dito naman is simple. So this is 2 years and 7 months. Okay. So finding for F1, gagamit tayo ng compound interest. So F1 is P times 1 plus I to the power of N. So this is equals to the 1,000 multiplied by 1 plus, this is 8%, so 0.08 compounded quarterly to the power of, so this is 2 years multiplied by 4. So this is F1 is equals to 1,171.66. So ngayon naman sa F2. So yung 1,000 pagdating ng 2 years magiging F1 na siya. So in finding F2, our principal, so yung F1 na naman is i-convert, i-move natin papuntang 2 years and 7 months. So that will become F2. So principal natin ito is F1 plus 1 plus I NI. Simple interest is 1 plus NI. So magiging 1,171.66 multiplied by 1 plus, this is 7 months times 8%. So F2 is equals to 1,226.34. So after 2 years and 7 months, yung invested amount na 1,000 is magiging 1,226.34. So hindi natin pwedeng gawin na yung 1,000 is diretso na siya dito sa 2 years and a half kasi dalawang process yung dinaanan natin. So from compound, then since yung 7 months is less than a year, so hindi natin ma-apply yung compound interest. So ang instructed dun sa problem is gagamitan ng simple interest. So nag-stop tayo sa second year. So yung 1,000, yung F1 is the amount na naging nung 1,000. Then yung F1 na naman is i-move natin dun sa 2 years and 7 months. So naging 1,226.34 na siya. So that is how you solve compound interest or yung may mga iba-ibang interest na problem. So that is why kailangan talaga natin ng yung cash flow diagram para mas maintindihan natin yung sinosolve natin na problem. Okay, so next problem. So a 2,000 pesos loan was originally made at 8% simple interest for 4 years. At the end of this period, the loan was extended for 3 years without the interest being paid, but new interest rate was made 10% compounded semi-annually. How much should the borrower pay at the end of 7 years? So yung 2,000 daw na loan is, first nag-loan siya is at simple interest na 8% for 4 years. But at the end of 4 years, yung loan niya is na-extended for 3 years without the interest being paid. So, yung new interest na in-apply doon is 10% compounded semi-annually. So, dalawang process na nandala natin from simple to compound interest. So, first to do is draw your cash flow diagram. So, loan, nag-loan siya ng, so there is a total of 7 years. So 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from year 0, nag-loan siya ng 2,000 pesos. Then after 4 years, so for 4 years is gagamit daw ng simple interest. So dito maglalagay na tayo ng future amount dito, say F4. Then for the last 3 years is compound interest na yung gagamitin. Compound interest. So that is F7. So first is, mangyayari is, i-solve natin yung F4 using simple interest. That is for 4 years. Then yung F4 na naman, i-solve natin into F7 using compound interest. So this is why kailangan natin yung cash flow diagram. Okay, so F4 is equals to P times 1 plus I to the power of, simple interest pala. So this is 1 plus NI. So this is equals to 2,000 multiplied by 1 plus 4 years times 0.08. So yung F4 natin is magiging 2,640. So after 4 years, yung 2,000 is naging 2,640. But na-extend siya hanggang 7 years. So F7 is equals to, so yung F4 naman gagamitin natin as the principal with respect sa year 4, 1 plus I to the power of N. So this time, compound na yung magiging solution natin. So 2,640 times 1 plus I is 10%, 0.10, compounded semi-annually. So semi-annual meaning na makadalawang beses siya sa isang year for 3 years. So baliktad. So this is 3 years, then semi-annually. So F7 or yung future amount ng 2,000 after 7 years is 3,537.86. Ito na yung magiging babayaran niya after 7 years. So this is only a 2,000 loan. So how much more kung example 2 million yung naging loan niya. So at year 7 babayaran niya agad. So ito na yung amount na babayaran niya. So again, kailangan ma-practice yung pag-draw ng cash flow diagram kasi magiging guide nyo to in solving the problem. Okay, so next is equation of value. So an equation of value is obtained by setting the sum of the values on a certain comparison or focal date of one set of obligation equal to the sum of the values on the same date of another set of obligations. Okay, so para mas maintindihan natin yung equation of value, magsaset tayo ng isang example. A man bought a lot worth 1 million pesos if paid in cash. But on installment basis, he paid a down payment of 200,000, then 300,000 at the end of 1 year, 400,000 at the end of 3 years, and then a final payment at the end of 5 years. So the question here is, what was the final payment if the interest was 20%? So mag-draw tayo ng cash flow diagram natin. So, merong 5 years. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, merong dalawang instances. If paid in cash, merong 1 million. So, this is for sa cash. But sa installment basis, magda-down daw siya ng 200,000 sa at first. So, 200,000. And then, at the end of 1 year, merong 300,000. And then, at the end of 3 years, bayad siya ng 400,000. And at the end of 5 years, ano yung final payment? At 20%. So, ito yung hahanapin natin. So, the equation of value here is, yung concept niya is, yung mga amount sa ibang year is i-move natin sa isang year o isang focal point. So, at this example, dito tayo mag-refer sa year or start nung first year sa 0. Kasi nandun yung may mga values na known doon. So, yung 300,000 i-move natin doon sa year 0 using compound interest, but given yung future and yung hinahanap din natin is yung present worth. Now, same also sa 400,000, i-move natin siya to year 0 and yung Q natin to year 0. So, at this point, focal point, may equate natin yung 1 million at saka yung mga values dito sa installment basis na part. Okay, so using today as focal point or focal date, dito yung 0. So merong first is 1 million. So sa kabilang equation is 1 million lang is equals to first is 200,000 plus yung 300,000 natin times 1 plus I, which is 20%. So 1 year lang para negative 1. So ito yung future, ito yung equation natin nung sa previous, yung P is equals to F times 1 plus I power of negative N. And then, yung 400,000 plus 400,000 times 1 plus 20%. So, this is assume that yung 20% natin is annually siya. So, if hindi siya mention sa problem, automatic na annually yung assumption natin. So, that is 20% times negative 3. So, merong 3 years. And then, yung Q natin times 1 plus 0.20 negative 5 years. Okay, so the only unknown sa problem is yung Q. So, by simply solving the equation, yung Q natin, yung final payment is equals to 792,560 pesos. So, ito yung magiging final payment nung bumili nung lupa. So, if cash, 1 million. But, if installments siya, so malaki-laki yung nabayad niya. That is 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, and 7 or almost 800,000. So, how much is that? 1.5 million. So, nag-interest siya ng 500,000. So, malaki-laki yung interest kasi 20%. So, that is how you use yung equation of value. So, equation of value, at this certain problem, mas madali kong dito tayo. But you can also use a different focal point. You can use at the year 5 or somewhere in between. But yung pinakamadali is yung year, yung start ng year, or pwede din na dito sa year 5. So pag sa year 5, for example, sa year 5 tayo mag-focal point. This is our focal date. So yung 1 million is yung move natin papunta dito. So multiply natin ng 1 plus I to the power of n. And then yung 300,000, i-move natin dito. Yung 400,000, i-move natin dito. So that is also using yung compound interest 1 plus I to the power of n and 1 plus I to the power of n. So this time, positive na siya kasi yung magiging equation natin is yung future worth na. So, yan yung equation of value. Okay, so next is continuous compounding and discrete payments. So in discrete compounding, the interest is compounded at the end of each finite or length period, such as month, a quarter, or a year. So yung mga quarterly, monthly, semi-annually, so ganon yung discrete compounding. So in the case of continuous compounding, it is assumed that the cash payments occur once per year, but the compounding is continuous throughout the year. So the formula for continuous compounding is future worth is equal to principal or present worth multiplied by e to the power of r times n. So where r is the nominal rate and n is the interest period. So also if i-transpose natin yung p, if yung p naman yung hinahanap, so f is equals to p is equals to f multiplied by e to the power of negative r to the n, r times n. Okay, so example, compare the accumulated amounts after 5 years if 1,000, so yung 1,000 daw, is invested at the rate of 10% per year compounded. So meron tayong 5 cases. So if yung 1,000 investment is compounded at an interest of 10%, first is annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, daily, and continuously. Okay, so using the formula, f is equals to, so yung sa compound interest natin, 1 plus I to the n. So sa A, meron tayong f is equals to 1,000 multiplied 1 plus, so this is annually 10%, so 0.10 to the power of 1. 5 years pala, 5 years. So this is equals to 1,610.51 pesos. So sa B is semi-annually. So 1,000 times 1 plus 0.10%. Semi-annually is dalawang compounding sa isang year. So for 5 years times 2. So this is equals to 1,628.89 pesos. So medyo nag-increase yung amount niya. So letter C, f is equals to 1,000 times 1 plus 0.10% compounded quarterly. So merong 4 quarters sa isang year. 5 times 4 is equals to 1,638.62. And then sa D, 1,000 times 1 plus, D is monthly, so 0.10%, 12 months in a year, 5 times 12, 1,638.62. 45.31. So sa E naman, 1,000 multiplied by 1 plus 10%. So sa 1 year merong 365 days. 5 times 365. So this is equals to 1,648.61. Then sa F is continuously. So yung formula for continuously is PERN. So F is equals to 1,000 times E to the power of R is nominal rate of 10% times 5 years. So magiging 1,648.72. So as you can see, pag tumataas yung compounding sa isang year is tumataas din yung value ng amount na nagiging future amount nung yung principal worth. So if you can see, hindi siya masyadong noticeable kasi maliit lang yung difference. But if involved na yung malaking amount, say 100 million, so malaki-laki na din yung difference niya. So iba-iba yung mga interest rate or interest techniques na ginagamit ng mga bangko. So depende na yun sa i-apply nila. So at least alam natin kung paano natin i-compute yung interest na ina-applyan natin. Or say may loan ka, or kung nagtatrabaho ka, may mga monthly contribution ka. So pwede mo compute yun, yung monthly contribution mo. Okay, so that's it. So for assessment question, I want you to answer this. So a man wishes his son to receive 200,000 10 years from now. So if ako ngayon, from now, after 10 years, I want my son to receive a 200,000. Say ngayon, bata pa yung anak ko, but after 10 years is magka-college na siya. So I want him to receive 200,000 for his college fees or college funds. So what amount should I invest if it will earn an interest of 10% compounded annually during the first 5 years and 12% compounded quarterly during the next 5 years? So ano yung i-invest ko na amount para after 10 years magiging 200,000 yung accumulated amount ng i-invest ko. So but yung condition niya dito is what amount should you invest during the first 5 years and during the next 5 years if with different interest rates. So 10% compounded annually and 12% compounded quarterly. So you'll have to draw a cash flow diagram para mas maintindihan yung problem. Okay, so references. So that ends our module 4 and thank you for listening.